going to go ahead and get started. If you could please come take your seats. Thank you for being here this morning. We have a great program for you. Don't want to keep you too far behind our schedule, so we're going to go ahead and get started now. My name is Jade Clemens. I'm the Director of Economic and Workforce Development here at AltaSea, and I'll be your Master of Ceremonies for today. So again, if I could have everyone come take their seats, we're going to go ahead and get started. While folks are trickling in, can I ask, is this anyone's first time at AltaSea? If you could raise your hand. Okay, great. A bunch of first-timers this morning. That's super exciting. So you might be wondering what this place is. AltaSea is a nonprofit that's dedicated to the sustainable and equitable development of the ocean economy. And we do this work in a few different ways. One is by hosting these sorts of public events and bringing in speakers and helping to inform the community. But the heart of our work is really managing this campus that we lease from the Port of Los Angeles and we make available to researchers, businesses, educators, working in the ocean space. And the idea is if we can bring all these people together under one roof, we can more quickly advance the solutions we need to beat climate change, to provide good jobs and good food for people for generations to come. So a few updates about AltaSea's progress. Again, we have some first-timers. AltaSea is over 10 years old, but over the past few years, we've been rehabilitating these warehouses, which are over 100 years old. You can imagine the state they were in when AltaSea first got them. And so we've been really privileged to launch a few new projects this year. One, which you may have heard about, is the installation of 7 EcoWave power prototypes just across the way on the peninsula. AltaSea has been a champion for wave energy, as it is hopefully going to be one of the technologies that unlocks the clean transition quickly that we need in maritime industries and beyond. The wave prototypes are going to remain in place for about 18 months as a proof of concept, and the hope is that this demonstration will pave the way for more and more wave energy to be deployed, not just in California, but around the world. We also welcomed a new tenant called Ocean Well, which is actually a desalination company that does their work in the deep sea. Pretty exciting advancement in the desalination space, and as, of course, we know with climate change and growing populations, our freshwater resources are under pressure. So desalination technologies are a promising tool that can help us beat this challenge. And then last but not least, and perhaps most importantly for those of us who work at AltaSea, Sirens by the Sea. You may be familiar with the locals, right? You're familiar with this coffee shop. Sirens by the Sea, Java NT, is beginning construction on their space in Berth 58. So we're very excited to have coffee within walking distance here at AltaSea. Yes, exactly. It's a big deal for us. So before we get started with our keynote speaker and our panel discussion, I'm actually going to walk us through a few slides to just set the stage for the conversation we're going to have today. The theme of today's open house is the intersection of AI and the oceans, and you'd be surprised at how much intersection there is. But I think before we dive into that conversation, we just need to step back and kind of set the stage. So, whether you are really excited for the arrival of very friendly robots like this, or terrified of the arrival of not so friendly robots like this, we think it's really important to simply stay informed as much as you can, right, about the advances of AI technology, so you can have as much agency for yourself in either learning how to use these tools, thinking about the policy questions, right, the implications of these tools, and that's what we're here to do today. Hopefully we all leave a little better informed about this technology. So let's start with what AI is and how it differs from traditional computing. When we think about computers, even perhaps just 5 years ago, right, the idea was a coder writes a program, computer follows the program. The computer doesn't learn, the computer's not creative, it does exactly what it's told. It's like following a cake recipe. You hand this recipe to the computer more or less, and it's able to bake this precise cake exactly as you told it to, and that's all that the computer can do. Well, AI changes the game, right? So AI technologies, in many cases, can rewrite themselves, update themselves, but generally the key is that AI programs can learn, right? They can analyze large troves of data very quickly. and in ways that humans can't. And so it can be a little daunting. And AI programs, of course, aren't looking at just 12 different ingredients, right? They're not looking at 1,000 pieces of data, 1,000,000 pieces of data, but billions and billions of pieces of data, right? And are able to analyze the relationship between those data points and then get creative, right? Can recognize patterns and make probabilistic predictions, again, much faster and in ways that humans can't. So there are some really exciting prospects, right? Because of AI, we've seen extraordinary advances in a number of different fields of technology, including, for example, robotic prosthetics, analyzing brain scans, and other advances in the health industry, as well as unlocking protein folding. There's so much excitement about what this tool can do for us, and we're just getting started. AI is only going to get better, right, in the coming years and decades. But on the other hand, there are also some causes for concern when we're thinking about AI. So you may have seen a headline like this, or this, or this, or this, where there are a number of communities, right, who are concerned about the data centers being built in their backyard. Data centers are, of course, the massive warehouses of servers and other computer equipment that are necessary for the internet to run generally, but particularly for cloud computing and AI, data centers become even more important. And one of the concerns with data centers is, of course, they get real hot and they need water to stay cool. And so data centers can put extra pressure on the water resources in the communities where they're built. And I have a number here for you that I'm just going to read specifically. By 2027, this is the level of water that's expected to be required just to keep data centers running, which is, again, multiple times the use of water in a single country. And this is just in a couple of years. You can imagine a decade from now, 10 decades from now, right? So this is a real concern. And we don't necessarily have all of the answers right now, but we'll get to some of the answers in a moment. We're just going to talk about the concerns for the next couple slides. So there's, again, the challenge of keeping these data centers cool and the pressure that they put on the communities where these data centers are built. You may have also seen headlines like this one, or this one, this one, this one. Right, so it's not just keeping these data centers cool, it's that these data centers use a lot of electricity, right? This is also a concern because, as we know, most electricity today in most countries is produced by fossil fuel. There are, of course, a lot of renewable sources of electricity coming online. California is leading the way in many respects, in the US at least, when it comes to the production of electricity from renewable clean resources. But again, we're already at a point where carbon emissions are at record levels every year. Despite all of our work, right, to reduce emissions, we are still hitting record levels of carbon emissions every year. And data center power needs are only exacerbating that challenge. And so again, here we have some numbers for you. In 2023, 4% of electricity was used by data centers in the US, expecting that to almost triple, again, in just a couple of years. So these are real challenges that we have to grapple with right now if we are going to get it right. Some more headlines for you. I promise we'll get to some better headlines in a minute here. The labor impact, right, of AI. We're not necessarily seeing massive changes in the data yet around the impact of AI, but I think we can all see what might be coming around the corner with AI particularly displacing what were once decent white-collar jobs, right? Displacing many entry-level opportunities for folks. And we don't know what that's going to look like. We don't know exactly how we're going to solve for this challenge, but again, it's one of the concerns as AI is rapidly evolving and our labor practices are not. All right, so now let's get to some good news. So the oceans, believe it or not, actually can both benefit pretty extraordinarily from AI as well as help us solve some of the challenges that AI presents. And we're going to dive into that a bit more in some of the conversations today. And again, that's really what we're here to have a conversation about, is this intersection of AI and the ocean. And so in many ways, AI is already being used in ocean observation, ocean restoration projects, and also is even being tapped potentially as a solution to data center cooling that can be more sustainable if data centers can be placed, for example, in the deep ocean. What could that look like? So there's a lot of potential here and a lot to discuss at the intersection of AI and the ocean. All right, so just wanted to set the stage. Now we have some actual experts coming up here to talk to you a bit more about AI, the ocean. So we have a wonderful keynote speaker from AILA, and then following that we'll have a quick panel discussion as well, and then folks, we can all mingle and hopefully have some informal talk after that. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up Rita Sargsyan, who is the Ideas Program Lead at AILA. So come on up.
Just this slightly. Oh, thank you. Perfect. That's perfect. Okay, can you guys hear me well? Okay, all right. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much, Jade and AltaSea, for inviting me here today. It's so inspiring to be here at the Port of Los Angeles, surrounded by people who care so deeply about science, sustainability, and the future of our oceans. As Jade mentioned, my name is Rita Sargsyan, and my work lives at the intersection of artificial intelligence, entrepreneurship, and community building. I help students, founders, and entrepreneurs, as well as professionals, to learn how to use AI in their classrooms, in their businesses, as well as in their daily lives. Currently, I run the Ideas program at AILA, which is a career accelerator, free of charge, helping LA community college students gain technical skills in AI and machine learning through hands-on projects, courses, mentorship, and etc. Simultaneously, I also run our Founders and Investors events that helps to bring LA's community together. Let's dive into talking about AI. Learning AI today is similar to what it was like to learn about internet back into 1990s. It's not just a career skill, it's becoming a life skill. AI is in our everyday lives, whether you want it or not. When you get recommended a song to listen to on Spotify, when you get directions from Google Maps, when you talk to Siri and ask questions, and when you use other tools, you don't realize how seamlessly AI is already integrated in our day-to-days. So instead of thinking that it's too complicated, think of it like learning a new language, one that can help you to interact with technology and use it to solve problems and spark creativity. Since we're here at AltaSea today, let's talk about some of the applications that Jade previously mentioned of AI and its potential in blue economy. In industries like AI and robotics, we could see companies like Blue Robotics that helps to use robots to track underwater seafloor. Blue Robotics that helps underwater. Sorry, I'm just gonna adjust this slightly. Sorry. You're completely fine. Yeah, so the company that uses AI to track robots underwater and collect data and understand the patterns of seafloor activity in areas where humans can't physically reach. Another application is for AI and climate, where we see scientists use tracking data on rising sea levels and understanding how ocean temperature changes over time, which can affect our marine life, coral reefs, as well as weather patterns. And of course, another one is for AI and sustainability, where a lot of startups nowadays are training algorithms that can detect microplastics. It can optimize aquaculture, as well as help to reduce fuel consumption at ports and in shipping. So how can you get started with learning AI? With a show of hands, how many of you know or have heard about ChatGPT or a few other tools previously? Okay, I see quite a few people in the room. Awesome. Yeah, so for those of you who want to get a little more exposure to AI outside of just the tools, again, you don't have to be a data scientist to learn AI. Here are some easy ways. There are a lot of online resources and free courses that you can actually look into to get started. So Grow with Google is an initiative by Google that contains various courses ranging from marketing and digital literacy to AI for Everyone course, where you could take it for free of your own pace and learn about some of the basics of what AI is, how it works, and how to get started. Additionally, platforms like Coursera and edX offer certifications run various programs taught by faculty of universities, professionals from different industry leaders, where you can explore different levels of rigor of technical knowledge. For example, on Coursera, there's of course AI for Everyone taught by Andrew Yang and Stanford faculty. But if you're looking to explore other ways of learning AI, there is also AI for Social Good course, which is really good, and you don't really need to have a coding experience to learn it. Another course that I really like, if you want to challenge yourself, is machine learning specialization, where you can learn more about coding and behind the scenes of how mathematics and coding is used in machine learning. And of course, YouTube and free source resources where you can just search AI under 10 minutes or AI for beginners and learn about some of these current innovations coming out. I'm a big believer in learn by doing, and I think the true way of seeing how AI can help you is by creating something of your own. Some of you have mentioned that you've heard about ChatGPT, so I want to bring up some of these names for you and help you explore more of ways you can create on your own. If you're looking to write essays, write something of your own, emails, even on your day-to-days, summarize texts, books, context, even write code, you can use tools like ChatGPT and Claude to help you in that process. You can ask it to brainstorm with you on ideas you're trying to tackle, or you can ask it to give you a perspective or review, almost having like your personal assistant, your tutor, or someone that can be there for you and help you guide along the way of solving a problem you're working on. Perplexity is kind of like advanced search, so you can use that to have quick links into looking and researching further into topics of your interest. It could be more technical topics or topics that are just like what you would search basically on Google. If you want to explore with image generation or creating some visuals, you can look into Canva and DALL-E, which are ways where you prompt something that you want to create, let's say a presentation, a flyer, or just an image. You describe exactly what you're looking to create, and then AI uses its power to generate some sort of an image, a visual, similar to what you're looking for. If you're more interested in video creation, then you can explore Runway ML or Nano Banana and a few other tools, and these are very similar. Basically, you prompt exactly what you're looking for. Let's say, can you create a video of an event that's titled AltaSea and has whales and under the wave or something like that. I don't know. You can just be as descriptive as you like, and you'll create a video for you that you can use and explore and play around with. And of course, if you like voice acting or digital clones and avatars, then you can look into HeyGen and 11 Labs that have very strong features on working with the voices. So, long story short, there's a lot of ways that you can get started with AI. You can either get hands-on and try something new, or you can learn it from some of the courses and resources available. The best part is just pick what you feel the most curious about right now and where you feel like would be the best usage for you, and apply it in that space. If you're really into music, then look into AI tools that help you enhance your skills in music. If you really like to create something from scratch, like a website, then you can look into tools that help you to do it without the knowledge of coding. So another way to get really excited about it is join communities that help you to talk and meet others who are very interested and enthusiastic about AI. For example, we here at AILA, which stands for Artificial Intelligence in Los Angeles, we organize over 100 events a year that brings public together on conversations focusing on AI and its potential in different intersections. We organize mixers, panels, events that are large-scale conferences, hackathons, and et cetera. And most of these are open to the public. And I do have the QR code here on the bottom if you were interested to scan it later and explore some of the events we organize throughout the year. So yeah, what I want to leave you all with is, I know that AI can sound intimidating at first and it sounds very abstract, but in reality, it can serve as a great partner for you. It can serve a partner for scientists who are trying to make new discoveries, entrepreneurs who are trying to build new tools, and for all of us who are trying to learn and expand our knowledge and capacity of achieving new goals in our careers. So as you're exploring AltaSea today, I recommend all of you to try one of the tools I've mentioned to you or explore one of the courses and be open-minded about its true potential, because especially in blue economy, AI has such implications of powerful use that can create positive change for all of us. Thank you so much for listening, and if you want to connect with me, this is my LinkedIn at the top. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thanks. Let's give Rita one more round of applause. And I hope some of the tools she shared are new to you and that you take some time to explore them. Again, the whole theme today is really about just staying informed. So next, I'm really excited. We're going to have a panel conversation with a couple of folks working in the blue economy and grappling with how to integrate AI and integrating AI into their work. So without further ado, I'd like to invite our panelists to come on up to the stage.
Make sure you hold it up to your mouth. Okay. You hold it up to your mouth. Make sure you hold it up to your mouth.
Okay. Okay, wonderful. So I have my notes on my phone for this one. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah, great. Wonderful. All right, so like with any panel, we're just going to start with some introductions. Once again, if you missed it, I'm Jade Clemens. I'm the Director of Economic and Workforce Development here at AltaSea. And again, so thrilled to have these two folks up here with me, and I'll let them introduce themselves. Michael, do you want to, sorry, Hayden, start us off.
Hi, everyone. I'm Hayden Schneider from Kelp Arc. We're a seaweed seed bank. I get to do outreach in partnership with them. We're a tenant here at AltaSea. If you've been over to Berth 58, we're those big blue tanks where we can grow out kelp, but we also have a shipping container filled with kelp seeds as well.
I'm Michael Ahrens. I'm the CEO and co-founder at a company called Clean Earth Rovers, and we build smart buoys that monitor water quality in real time and build that data out. And then we don't want to just tell people when they have issues with their water quality, we also want to help them fix it. So we build what we call a Roomba for the water, which is a small autonomous boat that drives around and picks up trash, algae, oil, and dead fish. So, yeah.
Awesome. So you can see two very different organizations we have up here on the stage, right? Clean Earth Rovers, Kelp Arc. So my first question is going to be, how are you using AI today, if at all, in your work? And we'll start there, and obviously we'll dig into it more. So maybe we'll go in the reverse order this time, Michael.
So part of what we do with the data pod is we're really focused on building out proprietary water quality data infrastructure. So a lot of these cities and municipalities monitor on a once a week, sometimes once a month basis, and we're trying to fill the gaps by doing real-time data acquisition, and then working with a number of different stakeholders and people that can utilize that data, whether it's within these cities or nonprofit organizations, and realizing that the breadth of people that are going to be accessing it have very different backgrounds. So some people might be in research, some people might be in citizen science, and so we've built something inside of our dashboard called Gilligan AI, which is basically a chat function and a forecasting function. So the chat feature allows people on more of the citizen science side of things to go in and ask it really detailed questions about the proprietary data that's coming in, how different metrics of water quality correlate to, identify certain types of pollution events, and then we have, line charts that show all of your data as it's coming in. So Gilligan can also help forecast out into the future the next 2, 3, 4 days of data. That way, if there is a pollution event on the horizon, you can actually be aware of that before it strikes and be a little bit more proactive in your approach of handling it.
Fantastic. Hayden?
Yeah, so we're just starting our work with AI. When you hear seaweed seed bank, you probably have no idea what that means. And so when people go to our website, they have no idea what that means. And so we're working on building Kara, Kelp Arc Research Assistant, that will help people understand and be able to ask all of those questions that they have about, like, do kelps have seeds? Are they plants? No and no. They have gametophytes and they're protists. And so you'd be able to learn a little bit more about what we do and how we keep the seeds in the bank without having to contact us. You can just kind of ask it your quick questions and become more involved with the organization. Another thing that we're working on with AI is we have some research journals from the 1960s and 1970s that were never published, that were done by Dr. Wheeler J. North, and he was doing a lot of this visionary pioneering of kelp restoration in Southern California. And a lot of people don't know about those efforts that were going on. And so it has like about a decade's worth of kelp restoration with hypotheses and research, and then their results and descriptions and maps and all of these ideas and what worked and what didn't work. And so we're hoping to teach our AI about all of these research journals so that it can kind of share with potential restoration practitioners and the public what has already been accomplished in Southern California, and going forward what we could do.
So seaweed is not a plant? That's the most important takeaway that I just got from that. Is that correct? It's not a plant?
Yeah, I'm not a very high-level biologist yet, and so don't ask me too many more questions about that.
Fair. Well, and I think what you're already seeing here is a theme, right? That AI can help us understand complex information, large troves of information, and particularly when it comes to scientific research space. And so it sounds like that's no surprise that that's the direction you've both headed in a little bit. And Hayden, you probably touched on this a little. You are both parts of small organizations, right, or in early startup mode. AI is advancing so quickly. Have you been thinking about how to try to keep up, or is it really just, AI is happening over here, your work's happening over here? Tell me more about what might be the conversations that have happened in your organizations. Do you want to maybe start, Hayden?
Yeah, sure. So one thing at Kelp Arc, we're all doers and we're all wearing tons of different hats, and so we're all kind of working off of, when she was talking about looking up YouTube videos on how you can use AI, we're doing a lot of that, taking as many classes as we can. AltaSea hosted like an AI workshop, so we were able to attend that and learn a little bit more. And so right now we're just kind of dipping our toes into the water of this whole AI world, and I think it's growing with us, so we're in a really great place where, we're a small team, we're expanding, we're in this growth phase, and so while we're developing our seed bank database, we can develop that at the same time that we're building AI, and so that's a lot easier to do now while we're building all of these core pieces of our organization. To be able to integrate that AI as we go. But I'm sure that there are so many things that AI is going to be able to do in the future that we haven't even thought about yet. And so, yeah, we're just trying to learn as it grows, similar to everything else with the Kelp Arc. I mean, Sergey built those aquaculture tanks by himself with his bare hands, he'll tell you. And he's a geneticist. He was not well versed in the world of aquaculture. So we're kind of taking that approach.
It makes sense. Michael?
Yeah, on our end, it's really, to your point, it's just evolving so rapidly and so fast. And so one of the things we're trying to keep in mind is how do we actually safeguard what we're building from becoming obsolete by a ChatGPT or a large language model provider out there. So we're actually trying our best to build on our own infrastructure. That way, in the future, if ChatGPT realizes, hey, everybody's built on top of our infrastructure, we can just spin it out on our own. And so that's kind of what we're trying to think about, is how do we risk mitigate against what we're trying to build and the value of it. And then this is a little separate from the ocean side of things, but for any marketing or web people out there, there's a lot that I've been seeing that like SEO is dead, and now it's what we're calling like generative optimization, GEO. And so there's like just whole different worlds. It's affecting business practice entirely. So yeah, just trying to look through like how do we stay in the game and also safeguard against any risk that we might have in the future.
That's great. Well, that is a perfect segue into the next question that I was hoping we could touch on, which is, are there specific changes that you're expecting to see in your industries as AI is evolving? And maybe, obviously AI is shaping not just your industries, it's shaping the world around us. Are there, I don't know, if you could peek around the corner 10 years from now, maybe, are there ways you're expecting your industry to change because of AI, or the way you do your work to change because AI has evolved?
Yeah, I think you kind of touched on it. Like there are a lot of white collar jobs that are kind of going to be disrupted because of AI, and so we're trying to think of how do we not just make those jobs obsolete, but we make those people who are in those roles better at what they're doing. And so basically having a PhD water quality assistant in your pocket might make that lab researcher or that biologist on your team just that much better at what they're able to do. And I think the other part just goes back to risk management. I mean, so many startups in the space are building on top of these LLMs, and at really a finger snap, they could turn and decide we're just going to stop allowing people to do that, or we're going to take what people have built and do it ourselves. And so that's a big thing that a lot of startup founders have to be thinking about, is not just packaging ChatGPT with their own unique case. So.
No, that's great. And it's really great to hear as well that you're thinking about how, again, humans that work with you are going to work alongside AI, not just be displaced by it, right? Hayden, same question to you. If we're thinking 10 years in the future, how is kelp seed banking going to change, if at all, because of AI?
Yeah, I think kelp seed banking is fairly new. But if you think about like each strain having its own fingerprint, AI is going to be able to like recognize those patterns really, really well. And the more that we're able to feed it with the more seeds that we're collecting and the more analysis that we're able to do, we're going to be able to optimize kelp farming. We're going to be able to optimize restoration practices. And so I think that that's really good. But one thing that we were talking about this question at our roundtable yesterday, and how do we make sure that we're still like maintaining this human dimension and like keeping people at the forefront and like using this as an optimization tool without like reducing the need for people, because like that human connection is so important in every space, not just like aquaculture or nonprofits.
No, absolutely. And there are 8 billion plus of us on the planet, I think expecting 2 billion more in the coming decades. So we are going to still have to deal with humans, even when the robots come along. So we're making excellent time. And I wanted to give an opportunity to the audience. If there are any questions from folks in the audience, we can take those now. We have a couple minutes. If not, I'll just be the one keep asking questions. Wonderful.
Is that a big factor in your thinking? I mean, I know you're thinking about developing new businesses and being entrepreneurs in this area, but you're also concerned about all the investment is just going to disappear as somebody takes advantage of your stuff. Are you being able to copyright or patent any of this stuff so that it's protected in any way?
Well, I think that's part of kind of that risk management side of things that I was talking about. And, for us is a big reason why we've decided to try to build our own model instead of building on top of something that exists, because we're, and I say this all the time, like we have a smart buoy. Anybody can build a smart buoy. We've got a robot that picks up trash. There's 1,000 different ways to build something like that. So really where our intellectual property value comes in is the proprietary data sets that we're collecting off of our buoys. And so instead of just handing all of that over to these giant AI companies, we can safeguard and protect that by using our own technology and building out our own forecasting models and machine learning models that are beneficial for the long term.
It's funny you bring up even just another area of concern here. How is intellectual property law going to be affected by AI? Maybe the robots will be writing the intellectual property laws for us. Are there any other questions? It looks like there might be one in the front here. Yes, you with the hat.
Thank you so much. This has been wonderful and very informative, and really appreciate all you've had to say. Thinking about AI and the impact we can have with humans as developing our human potential, right? And thinking from the perspective of mental health and how AI can potentially help us get to know ourselves better by being curious or asking questions. How do you see mental health coming to be at the intersection of what you're doing, putting people forward, and also digesting and processing some of these huge changes that everyone's going through?
I kind of have a stance on this, and it might not be a very popular one.
This is a safe space.
Yeah, I don't think, I think that's one of the few sectors that AI should not be dabbling in. Like we've just seen in recent headlines that there are teens who have been assisted in committing suicide because of some of these large language models that they were basically treating as a therapist. And I do think that that is something where I don't think the technology's there yet, nor do I think that should be replaced, that human interaction and empathy be replaced with just a chat bot. So yeah, maybe there are different ways where you can kind of explore yourself, but yeah, I would say there needs to be some safeguards around AI, definitely in different industries like that.
No, and again, this is what we're here to have a conversation, right? A dialogue. And this is really one of the, what should AI be used for? What should it not be used for? And I don't think that conversation is happening enough, honestly. So thank you for that question. Sorry, someone else shot up their hand and just want to get as many questions as we can.
Thank you very much. My name is Elisa, and I'm a biologist. And I've been using AI to do some reporting. And I noticed, and other people using it have noticed, and to go to, sorry to go more negative, because mental health. But when I was looking at stuff, AI makes up data. It's called phantom data. How do you work around AI's propensity to make up data? Please, thank you.
This is a good one. I'll let both of you go first.
Yeah, I think that that's something that we're worried about, especially when we have so much information and we're trying to upload all of our stuff and we want it to only use the information that we're feeding it. But it's creative, and so that's something that we're looking at, taking everything with a grain of salt. I think with AI is something that we all have to do, and we're trying to work on getting it to cite its sources right now. So that when, right, it's like, okay, you have 12 books, and that's all you're working with. Cite your sources, show us the graphs, show us exactly where you're getting each piece of information. And it's been a little bit of trial and error, but that's kind of where we're at right now, is figuring out how to get it to just look at these 12 books. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, it is very creative and it can go off the rails very quickly. And I've experienced some of this too, and just some of the work that we're doing, trying to pull stats for our pitch deck and things like that, where it tells me all these numbers. I'm like, okay, well, where'd you get that? And they're just like, I don't know. So I do think that for, at least in our specific use case, we're looking at forecasting and feedback loops, basically. So Kind of like looking at a weather forecast. You know, if it tells you it's going to rain in 3 days and it doesn't, can you give the AI that feedback that says, hey, you actually weren't correct when you told me this? And can that feedback loop keep refining and bettering the model long term?
I'm going to take the liberty of the final word here. And I would just say humans also make mistakes, right? And it is my sincere hope that in interacting with ChatGPT and the distrust that is there, that will extend to just any information you find on the internet, right? Check your sources. Check your sources, whether it's coming from AI or a person. Always need to do that. So we are at time. Thank you so much to our panelists. Can we give them a round of applause? And I'll let you folks head off the stage, and I'm sure folks will be grabbing you immediately once we close the program here.
Thanks, Jade. Yeah.
There we go. Okay, great. Logistics. And thank you to the audience for engaging. Again, this is an interesting topic, a complex one, and I don't know that there are necessarily right answers yet to a lot of the questions that we have. So we are approaching the end of our program. Before we close out, I'd like to say a few things. One, we have plenty of AltaSea merchandise available for purchase over here. If you'd like to support AltaSea or even just learn a bit more about how you can get engaged with our work, please do feel free to stop over at our merchandise table. All of these purchases directly fund our education programming here at AltaSea. And if you liked what you saw today, our next open house is scheduled for November 22nd, where we're actually going to feature Blue Robotics, one of the startups that Rita mentioned in her talk. And there'll be a career day for students where our partners, both on-site and off-site, are going to be able to discuss their work, answer questions with young people in particular who might be exploring different careers in the blue economy. Last but not, actually, second to last. AltaSea, we had our annual gala just a few weeks ago, and in association with that gala, we opened an online auction. That online auction closes today at 2 p.m. So if you are interested in any of these fabulous items, you have until 2 p.m. today. There's some great trips, staycations. You can even go home and place a bid in the privacy of your home before 2 p.m. today. So I would now like to invite up one of our volunteers, Richard Ellington, to share a bit of information about our volunteer program before we close, in case there's anyone, again, who's looking to get involved in AltaSea's programming. Richard?
Hi there, can you hear me okay? My name is Richard Ellingson. I'm a long-term volunteer here at AltaSea. I started before the refurbishment of this building got started. So as you can imagine, I've seen all kinds of changes taking place. When the refurbishment here was completed very early this year, by about the end of the first quarter, we finally got permission to occupy the buildings with tenants. Big deal, because we could then start becoming what this place was thought of to be. We have a constant need for volunteers, and that's why I'm here today, to ask for your help. If you know anyone that is looking for a volunteer position, it will be well worth their time to come and talk with us. Our volunteers are used to man our sign-up desks. They're used to provide guides for the tours that we give here for students on a regular basis. We're also going to be opening up a visitor center, and we're going to need to train docents to handle that visitor center. But as you can tell, if you've been here, coming here for quite a while, this place is filling up. And as it does, we will need more and more volunteers. We need to orient them and get them used to this place and used to management so that they can start performing things that are requested of the management here. I would advise people to go to the website, altasea.org, to get a picture if they don't understand what's going on here. It's really easier to let somebody go there than to try and describe this place. There's just too much. Also at altasea.org/volunteer, people who are interested can enter their information and let them know that they're interested in talking about being a volunteer. We will call them right away, see if we have a fit, and if so, invite them to come on down here to have a tour and talk about what the volunteers do, and then hopefully start them off as a volunteer. Volunteers can work very short periods of time, maybe one shift of 4 hours in a month, or they can work a lot, depending on what their schedule will allow. And I would tell people this: the statement that I get from new volunteers after they've been oriented here is they'll turn around and go, "This place is really interesting." You don't find that very often when you're out looking for volunteer opportunities. So if you know anybody, I hope you can help us, and thank you very much for coming today.
Thanks so much, Richard, and thank you to all of our volunteers who are here today. We really could not do what we do without our volunteers. Richard is right, and hopefully there's a few more new volunteers in the crowd today. So that concludes our programming. Please feel free to hang out, take a look at the exhibits. We'll be here for another half hour or so, and hopefully we can chat more about AI if you have any burning questions. Thank you so much, everyone.